Republicans are now looking to the sale of a uranium mining company approved by the Obama administration. The sticking point here is the buyer of that uranium company, which turns out to be Russia's Atomic Energy Agency. President Trump was asked about the deal today.
Well, I think the uranium sale to Russia and the way it was done, so underhanded, with tremendous amounts of money being passed, I actually think that's Watergate modern age.
Well, it's a very complicated story, a lot of interconnected threads. Let's turn to CNN's Tom Foreman at the Magic Wall to explain. Tom?
Yeah, complicated is the word, Anderson. A key question for congressional investigators. Did Hillary Clinton give 20% of the United States supply of uranium to Russia for donations to the Clinton Foundation? And it flows out of the sale in 2010 of this company, Uranium One, which controlled about a fifth of America's uranium, to a Russian firm called Rosatom. By law, even though Uranium One was a Canadian firm, the U.S. part of this deal had to be approved by the Committee on Foreign Investment in the U.S., which is comprised of 9 agencies, including the State Department. And at that time, Hillary Clinton was the boss there. Anderson?
So, I mean, a lot of this was looked at during the campaign. Why is it coming up back now again? I mean, there were also all the donations to the Clinton Foundation.
Yeah, absolutely. It was all talked about before. But the Hill newspaper, which reports on a lot of things with the government here, came out with a report showing the FBI was investigating a subsidiary of Rosatom for possible racketeering, money laundering, bribes, all aimed at giving the Russian government more influence over the U.S. nuclear industry while this deal was being approved. So some members of Congress want to know why they weren't told about all of this. And furthermore, the Hill says the Russians were channeling millions of dollars to the Clinton Foundation at the same time, raising the question, especially for some Republicans, did Hillary Clinton help this deal along in any fashion? Her staff, people who work there, say emphatically no. She had nothing to do with approving the uranium deal. It was handled at the staff level, and Clinton herself calls the allegations baloney. Anderson?
So Clinton's denying it. Congressman Devin Nunes has launched an investigation. His committee wants to call a witness who allegedly saw much of this unfold.
Yeah, well, here's what we know about that guy. He's an informant who supposedly played a crucial role in that FBI investigation. His attorney tells us at CNN this man has a lot of information about corruption surrounding this matter, and he says the informant was stunned when the uranium deal was approved. If he testifies, of course, we'll get to hear it all firsthand and see how well his statements stand up to questioning. Anderson?
Right. Tom Foreman, thanks. Back with the panel. Mike, is this Watergate modern age?
Well, I think we should find out. And I think of all the things that we've talked about, this has more teeth and more legs than, and that was a great explanation by CNN there of what this is. When I worked in Congress in 2006, CFIUS was the acronym that he mentioned, CFIUS. It'll be something that people that follow this, you'll start to say this word on here all the time. It's a committee that oversees foreign investments in America, and they denied the country of Dubai from buying some U.S. ports. It's a long, laborious thing. We really investigate whether or not a foreign entity, for very good reason, can buy into America. This one was expedited. It went through the Obama administration in 90 days. The with Democrats in Congress with no oversight hearings at all. And the Republicans in Congress at the time said, wait a minute, what's going on here? Many Americans might be learning tonight and not realize that 20% of U.S. uranium is now owned by Russia. That all happened under the Obama administration with Hillary Clinton as the Secretary of State, while
it was approved by multiple government agencies.
All under the Obama administration.
Right, yes.
So it's like a committee of people of the cabinet of Barack Obama, right, with her sitting there as Secretary of State. It's well worth looking into this and finding out what the truth is.
This is all old news. I mean, I actually wrote about this story and how it came to be in my book published 3-4 months ago. I mean, all of this stuff came out years ago. There was a front page story in the New York Times. And the element about this that hasn't really got any attention that I think is important is this story was generated by Steve Bannon, working under the auspices of the Mercer family, the right-wing billionaires, who produced the book Clinton Cash, which in turn, before it was published, was given to New York Times reporters who took this, realized there really is a story here, and it generated a front page story in the New York Times above the fold just after Clinton announced her candidacy. The purpose of the story, as Bannon tells me in the book, was to impugn Clinton's character, which it did. And what's interesting is it's coming up now at the very point at which Russia has become a problem for Donald Trump. And by congressional Republicans surfacing this now, I think it muddies the water and draws attention away from Trump.
Yeah, the new company that bought this uranium has no license to export
Right, the uranium's not in Russia.
The uranium's not going to Russia. It can't go to Russia. They have no license to export. That's point one. Point two, those are 9 cabinet and some sub-cabinet agencies that sit on there, including the Justice Department, of which the FBI is part. So if the FBI had concerns, they should have raised it at that level, because they had a seat at the table. The Treasury Department chairs that process, by the way, not State or Justice. And finally, Hillary didn't even vote on it. She didn't even attend the meetings on it. She delegated it sensibly to somebody who knows more about this stuff, a guy named Jose Fernandez, who's the Assistant Secretary, who said, and I'm quoting him, he said, Hillary Clinton never intervened with me on any CFIUS matter. So no intervention. She didn't even vote on it. The Justice Department had a seat at the table, and they can't take over any other.
But hang on. This is a point you'll want me to make.
Okay.
The thing that Clinton did wrong was she didn't disclose the donors. The head of this company was donating money to the Clinton Foundation. Bill Clinton was getting money from a Russia-aligned investment
bank. I think like $145 million total, which is
yeah,
a lot of money.
Significant. Hang on. I interviewed you. There was a deal the Clinton Foundation was supposed to disclose foreign donors, and in this case, they did not. Which is what made it a viable story. What it doesn't show is that there was any kind of collusion with Russia.
People ought to look at PolitiFact, which has done a real good explainer of this. One of the things they point out is the guy that made those donations, he made them 18 months before Hillary was even Secretary of State, and 3 years before this deal.
But they knew she was running. They knew she was running for president. And look, at the end of the day, it's two things. The two things are the problem. It's crooked Hillary.
Look it up online.
It's crooked Hillary. The money moving all around to her people. And the second thing is, no, she's out of office, thankfully. And the second thing that's true is the FBI, the story that Hill wrote, they're not carrying water. They're not carrying water for the Trump campaign. Hill said, wait a second, the FBI was in this in a way that nobody ever knew, and it wasn't disclosed. What's the story? And that's what we have to get to.
So did Hillary shut up the FBI?
Well, I don't know. We'll find out.
Oh, sure, because State Department runs FBI?
Well, Paul, should we look into it?
Shouldn't we look into it? Isn't that what you've all said, that we should look into whether the president has done anything to influence the FBI? You've been calling that for that.
If this is an attempt at all for Russia interference, wouldn't this be one of the things that...
Sure, I think look into it till the cows come home, but it's been looked into.
But you just hit it. The other thing that I think is important to remember is that this happened at a time when it was they were trying to do the Russia reset. So this was also part of, we're thinking of it in today's world, right, where we're looking at Russia as someone who tried to interfere with our election, who has basically become a major, enemy of the United States, and at that point they were trying to have a relationship with them, and so that would be an argument for why they might approve a deal like this. I don't think there's anything wrong with investigating it. I just think that, like you're pointing out, the person who supposedly was doing this payoff, he also sold his stake in the company before Hillary even.
I want. Josh, you know we gotta go.
I spoke to the CEO who said he was a huge Clinton fan. He gave a lot of money. Gave a lot of money to the Clinton Foundation. Considered Bill Clinton one of his pals. I think that was the word he used. So he clearly had an interest in ingratiating himself to the Clintons. What I don't think it showed, though, is that there was any kind of Russian collusion.
We got to take a break here. Appreciate everybody on the panel. Thank you. More ahead. We'll be right back.